Some cracking goals there, and I'm delighted to say I've been joined here in the studio by someone who no doubt would have saved one or two of them back in his prime, David James. David, great to see you. And, of course, you're here in that unique capacity. You played in both the ISL and the EPL. You're in the Premier League for 18 years. You're across at the ISL for across 3 different campaigns. Now, what we've done is we've asked you to pick a combination of players who featured in both leagues. So let's go through some of them. Now, look, Wes Brown, clearly we all know what he did during his time at Manchester United, which is where fundamentally he made his name. But what about as an influence when he went to India to the younger players?
Like, what a person, but what an amazing professional. I took over at Kerala Blasters. Wes was in the team already. Yeah. And I didn't realise till a little while into my time there that Wes would have half the team, literally half the team, sitting in his room watching Premier League matches.
Really?
Oh, he just bought into it so much. Got on with everybody. As I say, fantastic person, but so good for the team.
You see, and that is interesting because from his time in the Premier League, you wouldn't know what kind of person Wes is. He was quite a private individual, was he not?
Absolutely, yeah. But he said to me, I just love it, Jamie, I invite the guys in. I looked around the corner one day and everyone was there just sat on his bed watching the football. It was brilliant.
Yeah, we've got Joseme, ISL winner, as indeed Luis Garcia, who's in part of a fantastic-looking midfield. What was Garcia like?
Garcia, yeah, Lewis. I'm glad you brought that up because they beat Kerala Blasters in the final. Lewis is famous for the goal that never was.
Yes.
He actually had one when he was playing for ATK against Kerala Blasters, which he thought went over the line. I was sure it didn't go over the line. Fortunately, the referee and linesman didn't give it, and we won 2-1. Right? Yeah, so he kind of followed his career, those mystery goals. And
despite obviously coming out on the wrong end of the final, you're obviously on good terms with Luis Garcia.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. I see Luis from time to time.
Yeah, Malouda on one side, Perez on the other. I mean, you know, an absolute legendary figure.
Robert, again, another one who, when we met out in India, he just loved it. Was working hard, played well. I mean, he wasn't involved so much, but again, continue a very fond relationship with Robert. So.
Yeah. Actually, I just want to dip into defence. Marco Materazzi. I can see you smiling.
Yeah.
Did he provide you not one of life's important lessons?
Well, funnily enough, again, going back to 2014, we played Chennai in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They'd scored a goal during the league phase in the last minute, 1-0. And he said to me, "You're better being born lucky than you are rich." And I thought, interesting, you've just won, makes sense. And we ended up in the playoff, beating them 4-3.
Yeah.
I think it was a 118th minute goal.
God,
yeah. And I walked up to him and said, "Yeah, better lucky than rich."
Yeah.
He wasn't so happy.
I bet he wasn't. He can be a bit fiery, judging by some historical events. Great front two. Nicholas Anelka, I remember, was at Mumbai. Robbie Keane, he was actually quite prolific in his short spell.
Yes, he had a few injury issues, I think, when he was out there. But then he went as a player manager as well and completely turned ATK's form. So, again, 2 guys. I mean, a lot of these guys I see in and around football nowadays. So those 2 in particular, Nicholas, who scored a free kick. We lost 1-0 at Mumbai. Yeah. Bringing back some wonderful memories. Yeah, thanks,
You're glad you came in now, aren't you? Yeah. And look, if they were in their prime, as an 11, including yourself, as the last line of defence playing in the Premier League right now, where would that team finish, do you think?
I reckon we'd 100 points, clean sheet records, top goal scorers. I mean, you can...
modest as ever. And who would have that armband? That's the other big question.
That's a very good question, yeah. I'd know who I'd give it to. I'd give it to Robert Perez.
Would you?
Yeah. I would.
There'd be very few who'd argue against that.